So thank you for coming today. My name is Earl Southers. I'm director of the Safe Communities Institute and a professor in the Saul Price School of Public Policy. So on behalf of Jack Knott, our dean, and the school, thank you and welcome. Today, we're going to have one of our continuing episodes in our Distinguished Speaker Series. I am really honored and delighted and take great pleasure in having a colleague of mine here today. We don't often get people who were in the agency, especially people who are in the agency as case officers. And so while I always joke with my students and say, I've lived out all my Jason Bourne fantasies, he really has lived out all of his Jason Bourne fantasies. So let me just give you a little bit of background, and I apologize for reading, but I don't want to misstate anything here. Douglas Laux is a former CIA operations officer who served multiple tours in the Middle East. He was in Afghanistan in 2010 in the Afghan Surge, and in Kandahar during Operation Neptune Spear, which resulted in the death of Osama bin Laden. His final assignment was with the top secret task force assigned to removing Syrian President Bashar al-Assad from power. On September 11, 2001, Doug was a freshman in college on the path to becoming a doctor. Sounds familiar. We'll talk about that. But with the fall of the Twin Towers came a turning point in his life. After graduating, he joined the Central Intelligence Agency, determined to get himself to Afghanistan. And we're going to talk about how that actually happened. He wanted to get into the center of the action. He dropped into a remote region of Afghanistan. He received his baptism by fire, to say the least, almost literally. Frustrated by bureaucratic red tape and widespread lack of knowledge of local customs and culture, and an attitude of complacency that hindered his ability to combat the local Taliban, Doug confounded his peers by dressing like a native and mastering the local dialect, making contact, and building sources within several deadly terrorist networks. In his talk, based on his New York Times bestselling book, Left a Boom, How a Young CIA Case Officer Penetrated the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, he's going to describe a new approach that resulted in unprecedented success, including uncovering the largest IED network in the world, responsible for killing hundreds of United States soldiers. So, Doug, first I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for your service, of course.
And so we'll get to the we'll get to the med school story in a moment. But we're just going to have a conversation, as I've had with a number of people that have come here to be our distinguished speakers. And the question that I often get from students, having been in the FBI, and I get questions about the agency, is, tell us how you got in the CIA.
Well, not probably how any of you predict, but around 7 a.m. on whatever day it was, I got a phone call. And they said, hey, did you apply online? And I said, who is this? And they said, oh, we're the folks from Langley. And I said, I don't know anyone in Langley. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they go, please don't make us say the credentials. And then I literally had to go, I'm sorry, are you guys calling me from the CIA right now? Because it's 8 a.m. and I'm hungover. So, like, do you not realize I'm in college? Because I'm in college. So they go, we are exactly from there, and we are recruiting you. And so that's how the process started.
Outstanding. And so I remember in the book you talk about months, I recall, of this process of you've applied, you're waiting to hear, you try to call people, they don't return your calls. Just walk us through that, because that's something that most people don't understand when they apply to agencies like this today, that there's a long wait.
Well, it's a bureaucracy. I mean, in I mean, let's start there. So, I mean, it's like any government agency, there's going to be a process, but with the agency, with the Central Intelligence Agency, their process went something like, we need to investigate everyone that you've ever met, and we need to do it over a process of time. So if you lived in New York or you lived in Los Angeles, it went a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. I lived in Ohio, which meant they needed to drive to cow farms and investigate me and go through that process from there. So my process took way longer than it would be for somebody who was from Los Angeles.
So, as I mentioned in the intro, you were on your route to be a doctor, like someone else you know. And for those of you who don't know the story, I was on my way to be a doctor when, and again, got to medical school and said, I don't want to do this, and made a sharp right turn and wound up in the bureau. Tell us what happened to you on your way to become an MD, and you wound up in, ultimately, Afghanistan.
Well, I think it almost seems like cliche now to say out loud that like 9/11 changed my life. Mm-hmm. You know, like I really feel like people hear that and it's bromidic, you know, like they shrug it off. But the reality is, like, I was 18 and a half years old when the Twin Towers fell. Mm-hmm. I was like 6 weeks into college when 9/11 happened. And so for me, like, it really did have a tremendous effect on me. Mm-hmm. Tremendous. And so I just said, hey, eye doctor, like, are you effing kidding me? Like, I threw that out the window and I said, I don't even know where Afghanistan is. I don't even know what does UBL mean? Like, what does the Taliban mean? Like, what does Al-Qaeda mean? Like, I don't understand any of this. And it really bothered me, honestly. It really did bother me. And I said, okay, fixing eyes is out the window. Like, you're going to do something else now, and you're going to figure it out. And so I switched my degree, and I majored in Japanese, which that was entirely useless, which I've never used before. But I realized immediately, like, yeah, optometry's out the window, man. Like, I don't know what's going on.
So you finally got the call, and then of course there were many calls in between before you finally got into the agency, and that was pretty much of a nightmare.
Yeah. I would say that, and I can't say the exact amount of time, but I literally had to call them back to whatever their fake name of their agency was that they would let me call for beyond years.
Mm-hmm. So when you first started working there, and you know, in the interest of full disclosure, Doug and I worked on a project together that will come out in the fall, and that's pretty much all we can say about that for now. But had similar paths in that they called us to this project because we both spent lives in our agencies covertly. And when that happens, you got to deal with relationships. You've got to deal with people in your family. You've got to deal with people that are significant others. You've got to deal with sometimes children. You had someone who was very special to you in your relationship, and you had some challenges there because she was starting to catch on. And you do have to at least tell them about the penny.
So an entitled chapter, I think, is labeled Kate, who, if she's going to watch this, hi, how are you? I wrote a book and I labeled a chapter about you without telling you. Sorry. You have to realize that I grew up in the agency. I was a boy. I literally was a boy when I entered the agency. I became an adult. I became a man as I grew up through the agency. That's weird. That's really, 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 really weird. Because here's why. It means that everyone that I meet, from the moment I meet them, I'm lying to. I'm lying to your face. I'm already lying to my mom. I'm already lying to my dad. I'm already lying to my brother. Any woman I met, I'm lying to from the second we say hi. That's effed up. Like, I know it. She doesn't know it, but I know that I have to do this in order to not just protect my cover, but because I don't want to label her with, what my, security clearances and everything like that. But literally, you have to realize that, like, from the moment I graduated college, which is when I think sorry everyone here, when I think you become a man or a woman, when you're 22, 23, I'm lying to everyone, to your face, telling you I'm doing something else. I'm not what you think that I am. And that's weird, like, I think I'm still trying to figure it out as myself. It's just, now I'm here, I'm 36, and I think about Kate, as you described, and I will tell the penny story. I will tell that. But I think about this stuff, and I just go, wow, like, that's strange. That was bizarre. Like, that was no bueno. Like, sorry to be morose and suck all the oxygen out of the room. Now the penny story.
So and the lead-in is that obviously there was a time where you weren't sure if she was buying it. You were pretty sure that you should definitely cover yourself.
Let's make it clear we're talking about my girlfriend.
Yeah, we're talking about Kate.
Okay.
But she was pretty sharp, and you realized how sharp she was, and so you put some measures in place to see if you had possibly been compromised. And so one of those measures involved a penny.
I will absolutely tell that story. But again, let me just start with another story about the time I was in Paris and I'm under surveillance and she doesn't know.
Because you told her you went where?
Because I told her that I was a contractor. And so I'm under surveillance and I'm asking my girlfriend to take photos of me in front of the Tuileries, or however you pronounce it. I'm asking her to take photos of me so I can get license plate numbers of somebody who's following me. Because they're probably wanting to kill me. she has no idea. She has no clue. And so let's start there. Now the penny story. I had an idea that Kate did not believe me and did not believe me when I told her I was just a contractor or whatever. And so a classic, for what it's worth, a classic CIA move, and it sounds like it's worth a penny, but a classic move is to insert a penny into a drawer in an exact place. And so if that drawer is open, that penny will fall. Now, if you knew exactly where that penny was, you will know when you come back if it's replaced or on the floor, which is as I described, or if it's anywhere but the area that you put it. When you shove that drawer back in, you know somebody was in your drawer. And so, yeah, I found that penny on the floor one day, and I said, "Hey, Kate, curious, were you by chance in my drawer, or am I mistaken?" And she's like, "No, absolutely not. 100% did not go through your drawer. Like, I would never go through your drawer." And I'm like, interesting, huh? Because I kinda am pretty actually positive that you are the only one with physical access to my room. So either someone broke in and went through my drawer, or you kind of pulled it out, I don't know, took a peek, and the penny fell out. And she's like, no, absolutely not. Like, no effing way. No, I did not do it. And so
she was as good as you were.
Oh, God. Yeah, except not, because she was right and I was always wrong. And that's the big difference, is I was always lying. And you gotta also understand, and sorry for stereotyping here, but when you're constantly lying to somebody that you're dating, the number one thing that they think is you're cheating on them. Like, that's it. Like, that's number one. And so she was going through my stuff because she had to, like, she thought, not that I was a spy, but this guy is with another woman, guaranteed 100%. That's why I'm in his underwear drawer where the penny was that dropped out. And yeah, like, it's just, again, like, I can't express this enough. Like, it's a super weird reality, guys. It's bizarre. Like, it's bizarre to lying to everyone your entire life.
I'm going to fast forward here, because you get into the agency, you're in the agency, you're doing this work, and it's not exciting enough for you. I'll just put it that way. You want to go to Afghanistan, right. And I vividly remember your description. You're on your way to coast, right? Or you thought you were going to coast. Yep. And you get there, and one of the things I remember is how many times you were in what sounds like a container, which doubled for a room with creatures that were crawling all over the place during the night while you were trying to sleep. So just talk about your early days in Afghanistan and what that was like.
Which, yeah, goddamn. Sorry, that brings back memories. If you guys know what a shipping container, you know, like, we lived in them We literally lived in them. Let me say it again. We lived in shipping containers. And guess what? They're not entirely proofed out. So rats can get in. And so rats, when they can get into places, they will get into places. And so yeah, my first probably 3 months in Afghanistan, I lived in a shipping container and had rats crawling on top of me, which was also, again, like, that's bizarre. Like,
And so when you got there, you were already speaking Pashto, correct?
Yeah.
How'd you learn Pashto?
Well,
And how long did it take?
a year of studying, a year of keeping it a secret from this guy right here, who is my roommate. I used to have to study in the basement so that he wouldn't see my Pashto manuals. A year of keeping it secret from Kate. A year of not being able to talk about the fact that my daily routine is to learn this weird foreign language that only, 30 million people speak in southern Afghanistan and Pakistan, and why am I learning it? And so every day I studied it, and that's part of the agency process. Is it was an 8-hour a day, because it's government work. By the way, we can't work 9 hours, as you know. So it was an 8-hour a day process every day for a year to learn Pashto. And yeah, that also sucked, by the way.
So you get there, and you've got, even though you know Pashto, there's obviously different dialects. You've got interpreters, which you guys call Terps. You start developing some relationships with people that are going to become assets for you. And if you can, just talk about some of those meetings and who the Scorpions were, and how those meetings went, how they got set up, and how you were secured to make sure you didn't get killed.
Oof, that's a lot. Let me start. When you're doing this type of business, someone's selling you secrets, right? They're either betraying their country, or they're betraying their organization, or the Taliban, or Al-Qaeda, or whatever you want to name. And so to set up a meeting with somebody who has those secrets, who's willing to trade them to you. I mean, we saw it with Balawi, and we saw what happened in Coast, and we lost 7 officers. You have to be so sure. Like, you have to be so sure of who this person is. But you can't, because what if it's the first time that I'm meeting you? I don't know. And so a lot of these arrangements, we'll put it that way, when you talk about the Scorpions and stuff like that, a lot of these arrangements and a lot of these meetings had to be by proxy hyper operational, hyper secure, hyper everything about this person coming to me needs to be known. And we're going to watch this person come in from 2 miles out, 3 miles out, 5 miles out, sometimes by a drone. But we need to know exactly who you are because we don't know who you are. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the war zone kind of meetings that I would have were so hyper secure because we knew what the results could be.
Mm-hmm. What Doug's talking about is for those of you who saw, and I'll just give you this film as a reference, Zero Dark 30, and the incident that happened where an asset came into our base and with a suicide vest on and killed 8 people that day. Doug got inserted right after that happened, and that's where he was. And so needless to say, there was a source that they trusted, someone that they knew, someone they had met with numerous times, and it was a deadly result. The Scorpions that Doug's talking about were special ops people who were assigned to him to make sure he stayed safe. And they had a very, very special relationship, obviously, with an incredible skill set. And I know, you know, again, you're living on the base with these guys, and you talk about times how you can't sleep, how you would go out and just run until you couldn't fall down. But it was a really tight unit, obviously, because of the things that you did.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to rely on these people for your life. Mm-hmm. Like, if anyone's, I'm sure, sir, you have, like, if anyone's ever experienced that, where you have to rely on someone to protect you because the threat of you dying is high, not possible, not probable, but the threat of you being in Kandahar, driving around, is high. Mm-hmm. You're not driving in an MRAP. You're not in the military. You're undercover. You're wearing the local Afghan clothing. Like, the possibility of you dying is high. Mm-hmm. It's not medium or low. Like, it's high. You're probably going to die. That's the reality. And I've told people this before, like, man, when I got on that plane, when I would get on R&Rs, when I got on those planes, I did not at all expect to come back. No chance. I literally would spend all of my money beforehand, and I just expected I was going to die. That's what I thought. And again, sorry to suck all the wind out of the room, but that's how it went, and it was rough.
So let's talk about R&R. Let's talk about Spain. So Doug decided, since he had this eventual outcome, he goes to Spain and he's going to run with the Bulls. Not once, but twice. 2 days in a row.
I literally had SEAL Team 6 guys go, "What the fuck? Why? What are you doing?"
So let's talk about that for a moment, because I remember you describing these bulls as looking like small SUVs that were running after you, and you did rather well. In fact, better than some Spaniards who grew up there that day.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. And but again, like, the whole reason for my being there, like, okay, so you can run the whole course if you want. Most people start after Dead Man's Curve.
Right.
And I decided, no, when does that gate pop? Because that's exactly where I want to be, and I'll just be the one who's there when they come running out, and I'll just torch this entire course with them. And yeah, I survived the first time, and then I partied for 23 hours, or 24, I guess, and then I did it again. Because, again, my mindset was, what do I have to lose? Like, I have nothing to lose. Like, I'm not going to survive when I go back to Afghanistan or when I went to Syria. Like, you're going to die. So, like, run twice, run 2 times in 24 hours. And I'm appreciating that you're laughing. I'm really happy that you're laughing because it makes me feel better. My mom cries when I tell this story, so I really appreciate that you're laughing. But again, the running with the bulls and the shit that I did, or sorry, the stuff that I did on my R&Rs was entirely based on the fact that I didn't think I was going to come home. In fact, I knew I wasn't going to come home. And in fact, the fact that I'm here is weird to me. The fact that I'm having this conversation with you and we've had the conversations that we've had and have done the show that we did is so strange to me. Like, I can't even believe it. I'm so fortunate. I'm so fortunate.
So let's talk about, again, those meetings. They got even deeper, and you started to get people who were really connected in the Taliban network. And again, I'll stick with the book because I know there's things we can't talk about, but you started to talk to some folks who were really tied into the IED process in Afghanistan. And what was really confounding to the higher-ups in D.C. was that this network was an operation. I mean, it was an organization. It wasn't a ragtag group of people just trying to throw together suicide vests. They were outsourcing, and they had materials and a supply chain and everything else. So talk about that.
We had a really immature understanding when I got there in 2010 about what an IED network looked like. We just presumed Taliban goes to Taliban, goes to Taliban, goes to Taliban, goes to Afghanistan. This is how this works now. And in fact, we destroyed it. It was an entire business operation. It had nothing to do with terrorism or this notion of like religion or something like this. You know what I mean? Like, this was literally one man who wanted to make money looking at an opportunity, which we've done, going, okay, I can make more money doing this than what I make doing what I'm doing now. So what I will do is manufacture lots of IED materials and I will ship them into Afghanistan. And I'm just going to become really rich doing this because what I know is the Taliban has a need, and I have the product. And so we're going to just kill a bunch of people with that. And to be honest, like, that was why I was sent to where I was sent. And we ultimately, how do I put this nicely, got rid of that person and got rid of that network.
Now you had several people along the way who you met with, worked with, supported, that oftentimes when they didn't show for a meeting, you finally figured out that they were gone. How do you make up for that? I mean, when you've got a person who's a source, and then all of a sudden they've been eliminated, you know, how difficult is it again to then maybe start from zero to get someone else? And I know you were running several people at the same time, so that was helpful.
I was running lots of people at the same time, and the reality is, it's like anything. The first 10 times it hurts, the first 20 times it stings. Mm-hmm. The 30 times you don't really care, and the 50th time you just go, oh, okay. Like, so that's what this is. This is what the new reality is. And so I think for me, like, we never wanted to lose a source. I never wanted to lose a source, ever. Ever. Let me make a point statement on that. I never wanted to lose a source. But when you're doing war zone stuff, after a while, you just go, sorry again to be coarse, this shit happens.
Now it was interesting, there were several folks you work with who idolized you. I mean, you were an American, but they really looked up. But then you had a couple of guys who would walk in a meeting and just say they looked forward to the day that you would die.
Absolutely.
And talk about that. And I remember one in particular, I mean, he went into graphic detail about what he wanted to hope happened to you. And you still worked with him. How does that work?
I did have that character tell me exactly, I want to make your neck smile.
That's right.
I want to make your neck smile someday, and there will nothing be more pleasurable in my life than you dying. And again, like, these are so bizarre and like, just, they're uncertain and unreal experiences for people to have. But this guy literally told me that to my face. Like, I'd love to make your neck smile. I'd love to kill you. But I'll take your money because here are my secrets. And I just went, fuck. Sorry. But that was literally my statement. Like, I just was like, fuck. Really? Like, holy hell. And then there was another moment where I was paying a guy one time a lot of money, and I made the mistake of putting way too much money at, and I said, you get half of this today, and you get half of this the next time we meet. And to him, that was, no, I need all of this now because I've never seen this amount of money in my entire life. And by the way, it wasn't a lot. But the look that he gave me, and my brother here knows it, I've never been so terrified in my entire life. The look that he gave me when I said, no, actually, you'll be getting half of this today, and you're going to go home. The look, again, like, of somebody who wants to kill you, who will kill you, and has the knowledge of killing you, and has killed before. It's beyond anything. Like, to see that look is not normal, by the way. Again.
Well, I'm gonna obviously end this on a positive note, but
let's please. Sorry, guys.
But
I know this has been entirely just morose. I'm sorry.
No, but it's been informative, and this is the life that you lived, and because you lived this life, you saved many lives. And again, I want to thank you for that. But I do want to mention, you had to write a letter. And I only say that because, and I don't know if agencies still do this, but I know when I was in law enforcement, I had a number one that would go to my house if anything ever happened to me. You wrote a letter home that if you got killed, what you wanted to have done, and it was pretty interesting. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Well, I thought we were going to end on a positive
No, we are.
note. I mean, this is a horrible note.
I'm saving the positive moment for after this.
Okay, thanks, Earl. Weirdly, the agency sent me an email, literally an email. Isn't that weird? And they said, you need to notify somebody if you die, because again, like I said, probability is here that you're not going to make it. And so I had to email my brother, and I don't know, it was like a will of sorts or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, hey man, just in case, probably, by the way, definitely going to happen soon, if I die, which, and like I'm putting in italics, like probably, yeah, it's probably going to happen. If I die, everything goes to you, and you can just deal with it however you want. Can't tell you what I'm up to, can't tell you who I work for, can't tell you anything, but just save this email and put it in your safe, so in case the probable happens. And his response was, got it.
Right, I remember that.
Got it.
So let me go back to the beginning. I mean, we've talked about some things that obviously have been quite serious, and in some instances quite deadly. But you did this. You loved it. My life wasn't like yours, but I did it and I loved it. I know why I did it. I would do it again with all the things that went on. Tell me what they're looking for, in your opinion. What's the agency looking for? Because I get this question from my students all the time. Yeah, what's the CIA looking for? Who's their ideal candidate? And I want to stop you for half a second, because we've had this discussion before. I've had students that have gone on to other agencies. I'm really proud of them. They love it. I've had a couple students that applied to the CIA, and I thought they walked on water. They were incredibly brilliant, fit, innovative, adaptive, all the descriptions we can come up with, and they come back and say, Professor, I got rejected. They tell you why? No. And so, in your opinion, what are they looking for?
I can tell you exactly what it is. You have to be extemporaneous. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be. And that's how they're going to root you out at moment one. I mean, you're obviously going to have to pass tests that suggest you can qualify for an agency with the word intelligence in the middle. So you're gonna have to meet that first and show that you have an IQ. But after that, they are going to test you. And they need to see that when I throw the kitchen sink at you, you don't mind it. And you can just divert and you can do whatever. Like, literally, I mean, look up, this is what I tell people, look up the word extemporaneous, and that's it. Secondarily, travel overseas, learn a foreign language. If you do these three things, because, by the way, you've already qualified to get in the door. Like I said, like, intelligence, it doesn't mean anything. Like, they're not, like you just said, like, you've had candidates who have been the walking on water, you know, shit hot, ace of spades. None of that matters. None of that matters. You have to be able to think extemporaneously. You have to be able, on your feet, to go, oh, okay, that's not the way that I thought this thing was going to go, but okay, here's my answer. to you now. So, yeah, I guess that's my response.
Okay. So, in the end, you actually discover this network and this supply chain, and I don't want to ruin the end of the book, but basically compromise
Don't worry
that
about
whole
it.
unit.
It's not a movie.
Okay, it's not a movie, not yet. But just
Ruin it.
But
Go
just
ahead.
talk. But talk about that when you finally outed this network.
In what degree?
In the degree that you basically had neutralized their capacity to produce.
Yeah, there's not a lot I can say about it other than what I've already written. But yeah, I don't know if I can say too much about that.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Sorry.
Let's do this. So, we've got a few minutes. I'm going to open it up for questions, and we don't need mics or anything.
I'd love them. Please don't keep them dark.
Okay. All right. So let me start with Gus.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Hey,
My question
thank
has
you
to
for
do
being here.
With your humanity, as a human being, dealing with your own emotions, your own fears, your own terrors. How did you, I guess, uphold your emotional intelligence and your mental health?
So my EIQ. Well, you're looking at it right now. Like, it has been a struggle. And again, you can ask my brother. Like, it has been tough. I mean, like I said, like, my entire, not like, I say like too much. My entire adult life literally has been just lying to people. That's not healthy. And so, yeah, man, like, I've really struggled with it. I've really been having a hard time with it after I got out. And you get to suddenly be honest with people. And that book that is at your feet, like, that was so cathartic for me. You know, for my parents. By the way, they found out, just for what it's worth, 3 days before that thing came out. 3 days before that book came out, I had to notify them because I knew it was coming out. And I was like, hey, Mom and Dad, just FYI, guess what I used to be doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that bizarre? And so, how I'm doing now, okay, I guess, but I'd say okay, ...
Usually when Doug and I text each other, I start with, if you can tell me what country you're in, tell me. And then the last time he did that, instead of telling me, he sent me a photograph of himself in a cafe in Paris. So I got my answer.
I will tell you a personal story of the time I was standing in my basement and my dad was bragging to me about my cousin who was a Marine. And he's bragging about him and he's going on, and rightfully so, respect due, but he's going on and on and on and on. And I'm standing there going, fuck, man. Like, really? Like, do you know what I'm doing every day? Like, this shit's way harder. Like, this is really, really, sorry, Errol, for the language. Sorry, guys. Sorry for my language. I apologize. I have no filter. I apologize. Sir, I was talking to a soldier, so I know you don't care. But I literally would, or did, sit there as my dad just bragged on and on and on and on and on and on about my cousin. And I was like, Dad, like, he's in logistics. Like, what the fuck? Like, What are we doing? And then he got a military parade in our hometown. And I'm just sitting here going, I can't. But you don't get to wear a uniform, sir. And by the way, I'm not disrespecting your service. Sir, thank you. Okay, thanks for what you did for our country. Thank you.
I'm going to go here and then here. So go ahead, sir.
So you spent a year studying Pashto, and I'm sure you had some sort of cultural immersion as well. But then when you get to the provinces, you get to some of these small...
No cultural immersion, but go on.
Well, you should have, sorry.
Yes, you're right, but go on.
In terms of the difference, I've talked to some interpreters who've gone to places where they've said, for the first several months, we do nothing that they were saying. So in terms of, Sengayes, Manum Keldende, okay.
Khabarikum. Yeah, okay.
In these small places, where these small meetings where no one you've talked with has gone to school. They've lived in this high altitude, compartmentalized environment.
The Pashto Jibbe Khabari workre?
Yeah, not.
Oh, wow, okay.
Kind of fun with the internet. But how did that work? I'm curious.
Well, I talk about it in the book, is that what I was taught initially for a year of my life was the wrong dialect. The wrong, sorry, I'll start using effing, the wrong effing dialect. The wrong one. How? Like, how do we not know that? How do we not know that they do the Janubi Janab? How do we not know that they speak the Southern tongue? How do we not know that? And so when I got there, it's the equivalent of if I were to say to you, hey, let's speak English, and then, oh, by the way, now here's rap music. You would go, none of these words make any sense. Like, Rick Ross is calling this thing a slab. What's a slab? Well, a slab is a car, but you only know that if you like Rick Ross, right? And so I'm literally listening to these people and going, now, I know what the Pashto word for car is, but this guy's saying another word, but I'm pretty positive he means car, but he's saying slab. I should probably brush up on my Rick Ross. And so that's my answer to you. But thank you for your question, sir.
Carl.
Yeah. My question is, what are you doing now, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, we know what we're going to do. We know what's going to happen in the fall, we hope.
Well, I'm working with this guy, and my hope, our hope, I think, for the future is to continue working together. I can't tell you what the television show that we made is, but that's my hope. That's what I'm doing. I come here and hang out with my buddy, so.
Oh, we do know an ex-agency chief of station from LA that has become a famous author and a
Jason Matthews.
movie.
Jason Matthews.
Jason comes here sometimes.
Most
All right.
of us here know Jason well.
Yeah. Okay. He's going to be famous enough if he's not already. Trust me. Sir.
You talked previously saying that it wasn't about religion. Race.
I meant to ask you that.
It was more about money.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from American culture, going over there, new culture, new religion, new people. I want to know what's your opinion on this totally different land that you went to, and what do you think about the people there and their culture?
Well, what do I think about the people there? I love them. I love everyone in Afghanistan. I love everyone in Syria. I love everyone in every country that I've been to. The bad guys, didn't love them so much. But as far as what do I think about their religion or their culture, I'll offer this. And probably people here might disagree with me. Religion does not mean shit. Sorry again, Errol. Religion does not mean shit when you're starving. Period. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. Like, it doesn't mean anything. When you're literally dying because you're not eating. Because we can die when we don't eat. When you are literally dying because you have no food in your belly, brother, money will supersede anything. And to be quite honest with you, that's what I relied on. And that's what got me most of my sources.
I want to share something that Doug goes into some demographics here, and he says Pashtuns make up about 50% of the Afghan population and have dominated the southern part of the country south of the Amu River since the first millennium. But what's really interesting is when he says about people there, children, they exit the womb in survival mode and continue to struggle that way until they die. Many don't make it. According to the World Health Organization's State of the World's Children, southern Afghanistan's under 5 mortality rate is 257 deaths per 1,000 live births, which makes it the 3rd highest in the world, surpassed only by Angola and Sierra Leone. And that's where he was. So I think I wanted to go. I think there was a question here, and then Carol.
Talked about some of the requirements that someone that wants to go into the CIA would meet.
Yeah.
And I intend no disrespect when I say this, but would you say that an additional requirement would then be like being able to be confronted to the fact that you might die in the moment?
Yes.
Would you just go into it essentially with a death wish, or?
I don't think you go into it with a death wish. When you choose the war zones, possibly. I think most people go into it with a imagination and with a sense of travel and with a sense of exploration and things like this, and adventure. When you choose Kandahar, or you choose Syria, or you choose a white-hot war zone, yeah, I think it's not a death wish, but you just realize that it's probably a possibility.
Did you go into knowing that and choosing that then?
Yeah, because I'm not married and I don't have kids, so I didn't really care. I mean, sorry if that's sad again, but like, I just didn't care. And I was young. And I mean, I left for a reason, but yeah, I think I was just young and I didn't really care if I died. So, who cares?
Carol.
Thanks for your question. Sorry for my absolutely morbid response.
How could they possibly debrief you to let you desurface it? How do you get help from the debriefing?
There is none. When you quit, there is none. I'll just put it that way. When you retire, there is. When you quit, there is no debriefing. You're on your own. Go with God. Stod a lot. You know. That's it. You're on your own.
When you retire, there's not any debriefing either. Just after 35 years, there is no.
Well, you guys get a lot more help than we get. Let's just put it that way. You guys get like a 30-day period I got none. I literally walked out the door and was like, oh, okay, so what do I do now? Okay, those are the stars on the wall. Hi, okay, well, I'm leaving. You guys get a 30-day transition, and you know that.
But it's, if you're, I'm just talking about a debriefing for the emotional stuff.
Yes.
Oh, emotionally? No, you're right. You're 100% right. I agree with you there.
So we'll take one more.
This is following what you just mentioned. Can you take us back when you were 18, right at 9/11, the feeling then trying to do something for this country, and then 20 years later, today, going through all of what you have done in the book and so on, do you feel you have accomplished what you thought about right at 9/11? Or yes, no, and
I mean, that's a quality question, and my brother can answer it for you as well, but no, I don't think I accomplished anything. I don't think I accomplished a single fucking thing, man. I don't think anything that I've done has made any remarkable difference at all in the world. And sorry, but it doesn't matter. The IED network, which you were bringing up, like, yeah, I mean, I guess probably if it saved some soldiers' lives, then I guess it did. But as far as like what you're talking about, like geopolitically, or like what this means on a global scale, nothing. Like nothing I did meant anything. And so, sorry that might not be the answer you were looking for.
So here, go ahead, Carol, last one.
After spending 45 minutes with you, I believe you did a lot.
Thank you. Sorry I've been so macabre and like morose, guys. Like, I apologize.
No. So here's what we're going to do. One thing you know about Doug, he adapts for sure. And I know he loves the Ohio State Buckeyes. So even though he's here on campus, trust me, he has some Trojan gear that I've given him over the time we've known each other. But today we're going to up the ante, because when Doug flies back to where he's going, he is going to get on that plane with a memento from us on behalf of the school, on behalf of the Safe Communities Institute. We want to thank you for your service. We want to thank you for serving your country. And we want to thank you for being here with us.
Errol, you were my best friend, man. I love you, dude.
Same here. There you go. Tommy Trojan.
Okay, Tommy Trojan.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up in the back. We've got books for sale. Doug will sign. He'll stay here as long as you need to. Thank you all for coming today. We really appreciate it. If you're not signed in, please do, because we want your email address so we can let you know about other events that we have. And have a really good day and have a really good week. Thank you.